eating snacks.
What it do? Snackers and snackettes. It's your boy Gage. Sin is in the building.
Yes,
Jokes
sir.
in the building.
Yo.
And today we are here to talk about video games. This is cutscenes, and cutscenes are
The best part of the game.
it's true. We're doing things a little bit different. If you have gotten used to what 2020 was like for us, we had gone away from pre-recorded video and going to all live. Unfortunately, we couldn't do that this week, but we didn't want you to miss out. So we're pre-recording this show. So even though you'll be able to chat in the chat, don't be yelling at us and expecting us to respond. I got some things set up already, just so y'all feel at home. But you know, this is it's gonna be, again, it's a little different. Might take us a little getting used to, right, fellas?
Yeah,
I think so, yeah.
It's a little
Not
tricky,
having them
right?
there is gonna feel weird. Yeah, you know.
It feels empty, doesn't it? Like,
Yeah.
Guys.
where my
You know,
people?
no Jimmy get out of comments or nothing like that.
I'm not
Nothing.
gonna do
Yeah.
that. I'm not
Okay.
gonna do that.
Just, you know what?
Not
You
gonna
should
do that.
randomly say that at some random point in time.
God,
See?
didn't I literally just say I got plans for this? I got this. I got it. It's square. We got to
Alright,
take care of it.
Dude, cool.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so here's the deal. You are now watching cutscenes, and this is where we get together once a week to talk about video games. And there's a lot to talk about. There's been a lot of news brewing. It feels a little one-sided, but we have some things we need to discuss, though. So here's what I want to do. First, I want to talk about what the internet has deemed as the death of Mario. Are you all aware of this?
Yes.
I saw something about it. I didn't really look into it too much.
It's because you don't care if Mario lives or dies.
Man, when that trailer came out with Sephiroth.
Hey, no, listen, I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting you to be like, no, Mario's my man. I like Mario Odyssey. I was expecting you to like give me a little, not even.
Nope.
You really don't care?
I don't.
Jokes?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I play them when they're out, but
Perfect. You know what? Here's the thing. So Nintendo, I mean, listen, they said they were going to do this. They said at the end of March, we're pulling these new Mario games that we put out.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about now. Okay.
Right? Mario 35, gone. Can't play it anymore. Right? It just, the collection that they did, which was Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, and Galaxy 1.
I believe
so.
Like, why isn't Galaxy 2 in this?
Right.
Yep, Sunshine and Galaxy 1.
Gone. Like, you just can't. Gone from store shelves, gone from the digital store. Tell me why what you think the motivation for this is. Why is Nintendo doing such a thing?
I guess obviously they want you to try to go ahead and buy these junks and buy them up quick. But I feel like somehow they're going to try to re-release it again in some type of extra bundle. Maybe they do throw something extra in there. I don't know. But with the way Nintendo goes, I feel like it won't be gone that long. It'll just come back in some other shape and form, and it's still going to be sold at full price.
Yeah, it seems like something they might be trying to pull that Disney Vault thing they used to do back in the day. Like, here it is for a limited time, and now we're going to take it away.
Take it back.
You know what I mean? It just seems weird since the first time, you know, you're going to do something like this.
Yeah.
It's just really weird and really, really awkward. I don't know why people thinking this is the death of Mario, though, because of this.
I mean, people are just being, the internet's being dramatic, bro.
Right.
And welcome to the internet, sir.
Yeah. Yeah.
The internet's being dramatic. Stuff like this does bother me, right? Because it seems completely unnecessary. I understand. Like, all right, here's the thing. My understanding is that March 31st is the last day of their fiscal year.
Mm-hmm.
So trying to artificially inflate the numbers, I mean, I guess it's not technically artificial, but having people rush, I guess I better buy it. Let's get it now. Rush the numbers in for the end of the year so we have these numbers to report. whatever to our stockholders.
Mhm.
I mean, I do get that as a business tactic. You know what I mean? I do. And I certainly could see them re-releasing like that collection as individual
Titles.
like, yeah, they might release the titles individually and charge people for them, and people are gonna buy them. Like, if you didn't get the collection, you're gonna buy them, right? The other thing for me is, I feel like people wanted these because I feel like people wanted these to be like remasters, like really
Yeah.
up-resed and like
Yeah.
whatever, and they didn't
They didn't
really
do that.
do
Yeah,
this.
no.
And so it does make me wonder whether or not this was your opportunity to get it for this Switch. We got a better Switch coming, and when that comes, we're gonna throw
We're
the
gonna
Do the
upgrades
actual
version.
remaster.
Because that's
I
why
can
I didn't
believe
get it. Like, if it was a remaster one like that, I probably would have went and got it. I'm like, I still have them. Like, I don't.
I got it. I got
Yeah, I
it.
still
Like,
got them. I can go play them if I want. Like, I'm
yeah, I bought it because like I wanted to go back and play. Like, honestly, as a kid, like Mario still, it really wasn't my thing. I did play a little bit of Mario 64. Still a little bit, maybe too much for my little kid mind to play, but I wanted to play through it now, at least get a little bit more of a grasp on and see what I was missing out on. Because honestly, as a kid, I think I barely touched like the first two worlds probably in that zone. So I'm already seen stuff that I ain't never seen before
What's up, Alfonso?
when it first came out.
I crushed that joint. I do remember that. Shit, Mario 64 got crushed.
Mario 64 was listen, I've maintained to this day Mario 64 is better than all them games.
I'm not gonna argue debate that. That was such a great game.
I know there are people who feel like it's either Galaxy 1 or 2.
Nah,
A lot of people feel like 2. And a lot of people love Odyssey.
Galaxy was just the way the world worked. It was just too much. Like
It
was cool. I liked it. It was cool.
Nah, it was giving me a headache messing with that thing.
Wrong. Yeah. That joint was too much.
Yeah.
It was just like, I don't know. Galaxy just didn't do it for me. I remember when that joint came out on GameCube and like trying to play that joint with Zayna because it had like the second player could use the second controller or whatever. And like I remember doing that and just being like, this is not. It didn't feel good to me. You know what I mean? Like, it just wasn't the same. I don't think they've managed to recapture that feeling of Mario going from 2D to 3D again. You know what I mean? Like, we've seen them look better. But I don't think they've quite managed to take that and really do it. I mean, arguably, Mario 64 is still the best 3D platformer ever made, and it's like the first real one. Like, it's not, but it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, that game. I even tried to replay that, like when they put that out on Game Boy Advance, 3DS, one of them joints, SP maybe.
Oh yeah, something like that.
And I was like, yeah, this don't feel the same. You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't have the same appeal. I don't know, man. It just, either way, I mean, I think this is a kind of thing that there's a possibility we see more of this. You know what I mean? But I am also beginning to think that Microsoft is beginning to push the industry in directions that are going to force everybody else's hands. Like, I'm starting to feel like, even though Nintendo is Nintendo and Nintendo is gonna Nintendo, there's only so much longer people will put up with it. I do think that they're gonna have to make some changes.
Same thing like with Sony. Just like, you're gonna have to like fight as much as you want. You're gonna have to start making these changes and start playing ball the way things
Crossplay.
Yeah, the way things are changing.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with having your titles behind a paywall, because that's what exclusivity is. The paywall for exclusivity is you must have this console. I get it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm okay with that, right? But I think that beyond that, there has to be more to it. Like, Nintendo is so far behind from a technology standpoint when it comes to just their internet stuff alone. And a lot of it seems / feels like a reluctancy to admit that they're behind. Like, they were ahead for so long. A lot of it feels like hubris. Just like, so I don't know what you're talking about. We're Nintendo. dog. We have Donkey Kong, we have Mario, we have Link and Zelda. You know what I'm saying? Like when you go down the pedigree of IP that Nintendo has, you can't really argue with it, but you can if you're, I don't know, over 30. You know what I'm saying? And to a certain extent, because there's so much more out there, is so much more that has come since those franchises became what they are. And Nintendo has been relying on those same IPs for so long.
Yes.
And just doing new iterations of them. And for all intents and purposes, the most adult IP they have, I would say, is Metroid.
I think that's fair.
I think about what they have in Pikmin and in Zelda and in Mario, and you know what I'm saying? And Mario does some of everything. And I think that there is always going to be a place for that stuff skewing amongst a younger audience, and there's always going to be a certain amount of nostalgia. Like for everybody, some game is their first Mario, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. Like they have that. But at some point, especially like you have a Nintendo account, you have a Nintendo online account, the expectation is becoming all my stuff goes with me. I don't lose the stuff that I bought and paid for anymore. That's old. Like we don't do that. You know what I'm saying anymore, especially not in a digital age. That's a tactic that is more brought over from the physical age, where to a certain extent it makes sense, but there has been backwards compatibility in physical form for sure, but it was certainly more costly to make that happen.
Yes.
You think PlayStation 3 with like the emotion engine and all that kind of stuff, and them having to take that out so they get the cost down, right? So at some point, it feels to me like whatever the new Switch is, whatever the new thing beyond Switch is, which they could just be like, this isn't even a new Switch. Like this Switch Pro thing and or the Super Nintendo Switch or whatever might not even be a thing. It might just be time for the new console.
Right.
Whatever it's going to be, whatever it's going to be called, and however it's going to work. Maybe that stuff carries, maybe it doesn't. Maybe it reads the cartridges, maybe it doesn't. But when you're seeing the digital sales the way they are, at some point, the feedback is going to come. And I feel like you have to
100%. Yeah, 100% it's going to come.
You can't keep, you can't. You just,
that whole buying stuff over and over, that's not gonna last for so much longer. People aren't gonna stand up with it because most of us have.
Theme here.
Yeah, most of us have more than one console. So us gamers. So when you're getting treated this way over here with the Xbox and them respecting your purchases and everything just keeps evolving, keeps when you're going from when you go from the Switch to whatever's next, and whatever if they have a reason why you can't do it, like why can't I transfer my stuff over? That makes no sense. You know what I mean? Where I'm being able to do that everywhere else now. Like it's not gonna hold.
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot
of sense. Jump on it
sense.
now rather than later. Start putting those things together now for when the next console, whatever it is, comes out.
Yep. Then you're gonna see a running theme in today's show about stuff like that. Again, because last week we talked about Sony shutting down their digital, stores for PlayStation 3 and PSP and Vita. People being concerned about preservation and that kind of stuff. And on that note, we saw a article come out about the original code for Ninja Gaiden 1 and 2 just being gone. Like they can't find it, right? So they announced a Ninja Gaiden collection, right? And the collection has Sigma, Ninja Gaiden Sigma, and Sigma 2, and Ninja Gaiden 3. It doesn't actually have Ninja Gaiden 1 or 2 or Ninja Gaiden Black. And they were like, yeah, I mean, technically, those Ninja Gaiden Black is a remixed version of the first Ninja Gaiden.
Mhm.
When I say Ninja Gaiden, I mean 3D Ninja Gaiden.
Right.
And Sigma and like Sigma 2 are almost the same thing. They were the releases that came to PlayStation and like I think PSP or one of those, because Ninja Gaiden Black was exclusive to Xbox when it originally came out. And so now that code is gone, the collection is coming out, and they've done some stuff to kind of upgrade some things and take care of some. But if you thought you were gonna get a remaster or something of like Ninja Gaiden Black, it's like we can't do it.
Now let me ask a question. Might be a stupid question. I don't know, but if the physical discs of those games that the codes were lost are still out there in the wild and people have them, is there a way they could just grab those discs and pull the information they would need from there in some way, shape, or form?
You would think, but apparently
I feel
not.
like I feel like it's a yes
Apparently
and no.
you need the actual code. Like what's compressed onto the disc itself isn't code. You know what I mean? It's I mean it plays, but it's not
data. I guess would be the way to say it.
Right? Yeah, it's not. Yeah. What are you saying, Jokes?
Oh no! Like I feel like the idea is, I feel like on the disc, because it's all been complete. Because think about it, if you were able to just grab that disc and probably grab the code and whatever you want off of it, people probably would have been modding and doing stuff to the game from day one. So I'm pretty sure on those discs they're locked behind something. I feel like you could probably take certain aspects of it and probably do, but when you're talking about rebuilding the game almost from scratch, I don't think you can just grab that from.
Yeah, I mean, it's not code. You have files that are there that when compressed to the disk, it tells it what to do. Like, you know, you and I had modded Xboxes, right? I could go in and take a game that I could store a game to my OG Xbox, and then I could go in and I could access the files on it, and I could change files. You know what I'm saying? Like I play Fable, and when you walked into a town, the music that I wanted to play played when you got into that town. I just went into it and found the music and found Bowerstone, and the music that played when you walk into there would be an MP3. It plays Me Nation, like you know what I'm saying. Bowerstone wouldn't play, you know what I mean? But it's not code. You know what I mean? They're files, but it's not code, and you can't. While you can mess around with the files in order to adjust things and mod things, it's not the same thing as having the code or the original structure in order to create, you know, from scratch or to remaster it. Excuse me, in the same way. So you can still play Ninja Gaiden Black, like you can get it. It's backwards compatible. And not only is it backwards compatible, but with the power of the new systems on Xbox, you can get them at 60 frames. It does upres it. It gives you, I mean, it's not like you're taking it and remastering, like the way that they did Dark Souls. When it came to PS5, Demon Souls, where they went back and pulled like the original code and redid the original code to bring it up to date. You don't have that. And again, it speaks to like preservation, you know what I mean, and that kind of thing, and the way that people thought, you know, about that kind of stuff, and what that really means in the grand scheme of things. You know, it's almost like somebody records music, and you might have it on a CD or whatever, but you don't have the masters. You know what I mean? So you can only have a copy of a copy. You know what I'm saying? And as you copy a copy, you just lose quality.
Right.
Yeah, but you don't have the original masters to go back and remaster or work with or whatever. And so, you know, those masters are what really matters. It's essentially the same principle as that. And so I mean, look, I think it's interesting that they're doing it. I'm glad that, you know, if people want to get some version of these games, this collection, which is, I think for like the deluxe edition, it's like $45 or something like that for all 3 games.
It's not too bad.
It's not bad. And they're for those 3 games, and I mean, and those are kind of redone, remixed, up-res. You know, they added a bunch of modes and things like that to them or whatever. So it'll have all of that stuff. If you were going back to Black, you would really just be getting the more basic version of it, which, I mean, again, they could remaster it and upgrade it or whatever, but obviously, well, they can't. But you know, that would be a thing maybe some people were looking for. But again, it just kind of speaks to that thing. And I think when they give you something like what Nintendo's done and they take it from you, and kind of tried to build like a false sense of like, oh, I better buy this like right now, because what if they never put it back out?
Mhm.
You know what I mean? I probably should go get a physical, because what if whatever the run of physicals they did is actually limited and you just won't be able to find them or
Yeah.
get them anymore? Like, I guarantee you the prices on those are up on eBay.
Oh yes. Oh
You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? Like, it's one of those things. So you know, Nintendo's been good about stuff like that, even with just like the release of their consoles.
Mhm.
You know, people have accused them of not sending as many out or not releasing as many in order to build an anticipation and, you know, so forth for you know, for stuff. And so, I mean, I don't. I'll be honest, I don't like it. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like, I don't know. It feels underhanded to me.
Mhm.
Is that?
I kind of I get it.
Yeah. I can see that.
Because just like you said, it's forcing the hand. Like I don't think there's anything wrong with trying to entice someone to buy your product and do certain things, but it's just like, hey, if you don't buy this, we're taking this away from you on the 31st, and it's a wrap. You're now at the mercy of resellers and anything like that if you want to try to get it.
Yeah, subtitles don't need enticing. I don't think this needed it to be enticed at all.
I mean, here's the thing. Most of the time, when a company wants to entice the consumer to buy their product, they put it on sale.
Mm-hmm.
They don't take it away.
This is Nintendo sale.
You understand what I'm saying? Like,
I think not.
They
What's that word?
put it on sale. But y'all know as well as I do, Nintendo don't really ever put their stuff on sale.
Nope.
They barely even drop the prices of any of their product over the lifespan. Like, again,
Nope.
the Switch is the same price as it was 4 years ago, which is insane. That's insane. But it's selling like crack, bro. Like, there's no reason for them to drop the price, even with the new one coming. Like, even the rumors of a new Switch are filled with people saying, nah, it's just gonna be $100 more than the current one.
Mm-hmm.
And then people are like, well, they could just drop the price of the current one and release this one but they don't have to, because people are buying
it regardless.
I mean, they're buying the current one at the price, and they can barely keep them.
Yeah.
Everybody wants one. So, like, what? So when you come out and say this joint is like that, but it's better. So people go, well, better. It must be worth an extra $100.
Yep.
I just buy that one instead of, I was going to get one, but I just buy that one instead of, right? Is there a false sense of scarcity because they're using parts, components, pieces, whatever to build a new one?
Potential.
I can see that with the pandemic. I can see some of that.
I mean, I could see it even without the pandemic, but certainly within the pandemic. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So here's what I want to do. I want to switch gears real quick. Talk about what Xbox is doing. It seems like we can't. The news cycle for Xbox has been bananas.
Continue
for like months straight. Okay. Even when they do something wrong, they turn right around and they're right back on it. Like, oh nah, we just playing.
We got that in the bag. We got that in the bag.
That's Xbox Live, man. That was a typo. What you mean?
April Fools.
What are people playing
Fools in February? We got it all.
We're just practicing for April Fools, y'all.
Messing around. Yeah, bruh. Listen, I feel like I sit on this show every week and do a commercial for Game Pass.
Game Pass.
There it is.
Right there.
I'm sorry, that's it. Game Pass.
I felt a little too sexy, but I mean, I feel you. You know what I'm saying? We talked last week about Outriders coming to Game Pass, that being a big deal. Now, listen, let me take my hat off for a second.
Oh man, he took the hat off.
Listen, for like 2 years now, I have been saying I guarantee you the moment will come when third-party developers put their games on Game Pass day one. Called it like 2 years ago. Not even okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because I could see it. Like I could feel the potential of what this is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Outriders, day one. Now, I have also sat on this very show to the rooftop and talked about how Microsoft is moving so differently from what you see their counterparts in the console space doing. We've talked about, PlayFab. Have we not?
Yep.
Which is Azure Cloud Services. It allows games like Rainbow Six and what's the other Tom Clancy joint?
Siege.
Ghost Recon.
Or Ghost
Ghost Recon. Wildlands. No, not that. Not Wild.
Breakpoint.
No, not Breakpoint. The other
Division.
That one.
Division. There we go. It's a whole slew of Tom Clancy on it.
To run online, right? And them take carry your online in your class. Okay. And then I realized yesterday, while Sin and I played
Outriders
all day, played Outriders all day.
Mm-hmm.
Sin, what is Outriders running on?
Oh, I believe it's Azure.
Azure, Microsoft PlayFab. It's right there in the title screen, which we see multiple times. Because we be having to go back to the title screen.
And it just hit you like you just said.
Strategy.
Wait,
could that be a strategy?
Did you see that? Like, just
hold on a second. The idea of a company using Microsoft services to get their game online, cross-platform, cross-play, right? You're paying Microsoft to put your game on PlayStation, on PC, and the deal you do, Microsoft says, let's just put the joint in Game Pass. Okay.
I think
the game is dirty, dog. Listen, it's rigged. I'm trying to tell you.
They're playing chess, not checkers.
I'm trying to tell you, bro. Listen. So this past week, the day after April Fool's Day, which if they had done this on April Fool's Day,
nobody would have believed it.
Nobody would have believed it.
MLB The Show. We talked about this months ago.
Yeah.
Sony is Sony-owned studio. They have a deal with the MLB. They're basically the only real baseball game, simulation baseball game on the market, and have been for like 15 years. 15 years. There has been no baseball game other than like these little tiny, like arcade, RBI baseball, whatever. And I'm like, at some point, them doors are gonna have to come to Xbox. And sure enough,
Xbox
coming to Xbox. We saw that. And then when it happened, it was like, all right.
Bet.
Wow. If you're a Sony person, like most people who are major Sony fans who like love all the Sony franchises, right? If you are, you scream the praises of God of War, and you should. You scream the praises of Last of Us 2, and you should. You know what I'm saying? Like there are titles that are exclusive titles in Sony's ecosystem that are some of the best titles ever made in video games, point blank, period. There's no arguing that. But most people don't shout out MLB The Show.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't, because it just doesn't, it's not Madden, right?
Right.
But the game sells millions of copies every year. It's a yearly title. It comes out every year. And I mean, seriously, check it from the very first MLB The Show all the way through. It always scores extremely well. 8s, 9s, 10s, always. It is a stellar game by a team that knows baseball in and out. And it is a major franchise, whether you recognize it or not,
Right.
for Sony. It is a big deal that they are taking this game and it is now on a platform other than PlayStation. It's a big deal. Okay? But last week...
But wait, there's more.
I'm talking about through the roof, because this formerly exclusive PlayStation title that is made by a Sony-owned developer is coming to Game Pass day one.
Yep.
Let's talk about what this means. Let's do a little bit of a scenario. Jokes.
Yep.
Let's say you own a PlayStation 5. Okay? And you don't own an Xbox at all.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And you are a fan of the MLB games.
Mm-hmm.
You buy them every year. Do you know how much it will cost you to buy MLB The Show for your brand new PlayStation 5?
Typical what? $59.99.
No, $70 because it's PlayStation 5.
Ooh, you're right. You're right. They that 10 extra bucks went up there.
Yep.
Sin.
Yes, sir.
Let's say you own a PlayStation 5.
Okay.
Okay. But you also own an Xbox.
Okay.
Let's say it's a Series S.
Okay. Fair enough.
Make a difference.
Let's say you don't have a new console. Let's say you own an Xbox One X.
Okay. I want you.
And you don't play baseball games. But you've been seeing people talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Part of the reason why you don't play is because there really aren't no baseball games on Xbox. Let's say you were willing to spend $50, $60 to get it for the first time because you are a big baseball fan.
Okay.
And then you find out that if you get a subscription to Game Pass, which you don't have,
okay,
this game is included day one.
Okay.
What do you do?
I think that's a no-brainer. If all I gotta do is pay $10 to try out the baseball game I've been hearing so much about, why not just pay the $10 and I get that and access to everything else?
You ain't even got to pay $10 because they throwing around that 3 months for $1.
Well, hey,
that price is right
I
on
can
it.
try for $1 then. Makes sense to me.
How? If you are not console agnostic, like we generally are, we own systems by all the major.
Mm-hmm.
If PlayStation is your console, if you are there for them, like you hope they're there for you or whatever, right? How do you feel about this?
Me personally, I wouldn't be mad. Like, especially if I'm a fan of like that franchise, it's just more people to get in front of, you know what I'm saying? More people I made to be able to converse about it and get in chats with online or something like that, possibly. Especially if somebody decides to ask crossplay at some point.
That's true, but
that's a whole new slew of people I get to play with.
But I will say, actually, I'm gonna combat what you just said. because you
Okay.
know how like a lot of Sony, like I'm not going to say fanboys, whatever you want to call it. A lot of PlayStation fans are quick to throw something in your face that's like, you guys don't have this, we have this. We're better than you because we have this on our platform. So I feel like that showing up over there is kind of like they're gonna be like, oh,
So
you
here's
know,
what I want you to know:
Right, a lot of fanboys probably do that. I wouldn't. But
MLB The Show is crossplay. It is crossplay.
for the win.
If I'm no, like seriously, like does this make Sony look bad?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I will say in the stance of what PlayStation has been trying to say and saying that this is the place that you want to come, this is the place where you want to play these games, and how they've been backtracking on a lot of that. I feel like this is another one of those backtracks because it was almost like how can I say it? It's a win for the consumer, I'm gonna say.
No doubt.
I guess you could say it's a win for PlayStation.
Where you're consuming.
Correct. Because at one point, PlayStation was like, no, if you want to play the best titles, these exclusive titles, the only way to do this is you have to come here to the best place to play games are.
Sure.
But now they're kind of like, well, you know what? This is one of the best games, but we're going to let you play it where you want to actually play it at. So if you do want to play it on your Xbox, here you go.
Sin, talk to me about why you feel like this doesn't make Sony look bad.
Because they've been, hearing the rumors of what everybody's been saying about crossplay and things they want. I think it's showing that they are, as reluctant as they want to, they are listening to what the people are saying, and this is them testing their waters. Kind of like we were saying when we were playing yesterday, like this has been kind of like a Trojan horse to get in and actually see the analytics and see all that kind of stuff. It's just, honestly, I think it's a smart move on their part to put this on Game Pass, to go ahead and swallow their pride, put it on Game Pass, see these numbers and see the stuff we've been saying here, why it's important, why it's a big deal, and y'all need stuff like this over there, and you got to start reaching, just reaching across the aisles and stuff like that. I think that's what I think.
You don't think that? I mean, I've seen the rhetoric on Twitter of people being like, "Who cares? It's a baseball game." So, like, that is a lot of people.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people who care.
Yeah.
And I think there are a lot of people who are, listen, especially if you're console agnostic, if you do have more than one, if you don't mind playing, you know what I'm saying? Like, you get the games where you feel the most comfortable playing, or you buy the exclusives on the one that makes the most sense or whatever, or you have both consoles, but you buy where most of your friends are going to be. Like your online friends are on PlayStation, or your online friends are on
Xbox.
If everybody okay? Sound like somebody's dying. Everybody okay?
Yeah, everybody's fine.
Making sure, buddy. Listen,
hey,
I only ever get to see one room, bro. If somebody's tied up in your joint, I don't know nothing.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Come through right quick. That was actually perfect.
So, look, if you're friends, obviously with a game like this, they normally play on PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
If you have both consoles, and obviously this is a game you would normally like, you've been playing it, I'm just gonna buy it on PlayStation like I always do. I know it's coming to Xbox, but so what? Are you now though? Are you still gonna buy it on PlayStation when you don't have to pay $70 to play it on your Xbox? And you can still play with your friends that are on PlayStation?
I think when people with both consoles are really gonna take a second look at that.
Oh, facts.
Is there a second look like, yo? Are you
like the diehard people you say, say they just I don't like the controller, I'm they're comfortable there. Like
I
think
think $70 makes people start rethinking that kind of
oh,
BS.
absolutely.
Those are the kinds of things that are just excuses that people make.
Always.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I can tell you all day I prefer the Xbox controller over the PlayStation controller. Hands down, it's a better controller. I don't want to hear it from the people. However, I can play on a PlayStation controller. I've been doing it for decades. Like, it's not
right.
I played on an N64 controller, bro. If you can
play on that,
you can play on anything.
What?
I played on the GameCube controller. That's the worst controller. That joint has the stupidest buttons in the worst configuration. Yeah, like, so real talk, like, if you say something like, I only play on this console because the controller is better, that's not a real thing. It's just not. You might prefer it. You could say you prefer it, but realistically, like, you can play on, you know what I'm saying, any controller technically. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
anybody who's ever had to play with a third-party controller, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you played with a third-party joint, you bought a PDP joint or a Mad Catz joint or something at some point, and you had to play with their joint that don't quite feel exactly like it, you get used to it. Sometimes you find it was a little bit nicer than the joints that you were playing with theirs if you did it right. You know what I'm saying? So, like, that's not really a thing. But, bro, here's the thing. When you and I talked about this on Saturday, and I was like, you know what? This is a really good way. Like, Microsoft having ownership over all of the Bethesda titles and having 2 titles that are in exclusive deals to be on PlayStation means that they can now look at those contracts and see exactly what kind of deals Sony is doing, what kind of things they're offering people and whatever to get them to sign those kinds of deals. They have access to that now. They're allowed to do it. They can have their lawyers pick that apart. You know what I'm saying?
Get in there.
Okay. Sony having this title on Xbox in the first place does allow them to get analytics and see things they couldn't see. But especially with it being in Game Pass, it will give them access to see things that they couldn't see before. But here's the thing. The decision for MLB The Show to be on multiple platforms had nothing to do with Sony. Sony was forced to do it by the MLB because the deal they had with the MLB, MLB was like, we need this money. If y'all ain't going to do this,
we going to take it over
elsewhere. You understand what I'm saying? So Sony had to do the deal. This is not something where Sony was like, you know what we should do? Let's take one of our exclusive franchises that does super well for us every year, and let's just try to make a little extra money and let's give it to Xbox. That's not how that worked. MLB made them do that. And here's the other thing. If you look at the game on Xbox consoles, it is not being published by Sony. This is not like Microsoft putting Ori on Switch. Microsoft published it on Switch. It's not like Cuphead going to Switch.
Right.
If you look at who the publisher is for this title that is developed by a Sony studio, the publisher on Xbox is the MLB. This is, for all intents and purposes, their decision. As the publisher, I guarantee you, they were the ones who did the deal with Microsoft. Microsoft was like, listen, y'all bringing this over for the first time. You're trying to make as much money as you can. Here's what our numbers look like for people on Game Pass on day one playing. Look at what's going on with cross-play and blah, blah, blah. Game Pass is probably really where you want to be. And the MLB knows that they make crazy money selling in-game purchases in this game. People buying diamond packs. Continues to bring them money, and the MLB makes money off of that. So does that mean Sony will make money? Absolutely, because one of their studios is doing it. But this was not their decision.
MLB is like, you gonna do this.
This was somebody else's choice.
Salute to you, MLB.
So let me tell you what I think. We talked about this, Sid. I am like 98% positive that if a Battlefield game is coming out this year, it will be day one Game Pass. They will do EA is already in bed with Game Pass.
Yeah.
They will do anything they can to get that game in front of anybody in order to compete as powerfully as they can with Call of Duty. Period.
I said, I 100%.
And see, and you know what? And I will say this: drops in Game Pass, I will play it because you guys know I am not the biggest Battlefield fan at all. And if you throw this in Game Pass, you damn sure bet enough I will download it. I will play it because it's there.
Because it's there, bruh. Listen,
it is there.
Listen. Battlefield, if that joint comes out this year, that joint's going in Game Pass. That's where I'm at. They are not there. Mm-hmm. They are going to do whatever they can to fight Call of Duty. Period.
And this is how you can do it. This is exactly how you can do it.
Because the only other thing you can do is like try to compete with what Warzone is, which is already free.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So if you're doing a new game and you want people in that ecosystem, if you're going to try to pull people in, Game Pass is it.
Facts.
And it goes console and PC. Because you have to be able to compete. And if you want to compete, how you do it?
Mm-hmm.
My first thought was, I bet you Call of Duty comes to Game Pass, but I don't think that'll happen.
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen.
I don't think that'll happen. I don't like Activision doesn't need to do that in order to compete. However, if they find out Battlefield's gonna be in Game Pass,
they may try to throw something over there. Hey, it may be something exclusive. Maybe they make or maybe this is what they do. You know how we've been talking about splitting up the campaign and splitting up that multiplayer? They probably will take the campaign and throw that in the Game Pass. The multiplayer will still be its own, end up being a standalone thing.
That's basically you have to pay now, isn't it? And that what Warzone is basically now?
Essentially, and Warzone will be free, but if you want that other multiplayer that's normally built inside of whichever
zombies,
I was going to say, give me zombies, I'm good.
Yeah, just do zombies and separate that one and put it in Game Pass.
And you separate, and that way it's two separate entities. And the thing is, the one thing I hated is the fact when they merged them things together, and them things took up so much space on the hard drive.
Yeah,
separate them Jones back out. Game Pass for the one part of it, and the other one you can just download on its own for it. So if you prefer one or the other, you pick which one you want. If you want both, you can get both.
Yep.
But this way, something's in Game Pass for them.
I think that this summer, when E3 or whatever it is hits, when Summer Games Fest hits, I think that Ubisoft deal is going to be real. I think that joint's coming through.
Oh.
And I mean, again, as you are seeing these third-party companies, they are seeing what Game Pass is doing. There's just no two ways about it.
Oh, yeah.
And the fact that people can fly as a developer and Square Enix as the publisher, the fact that Outriders is in Game Pass probably had nothing to do with people can fly. It probably was a decision that was done by Square Enix.
Right.
And it wouldn't surprise me if that in some way, shape, or form, because again, they've seen what Final Fantasy is doing. They've been putting them in Game Pass.
I was about to say that.
What their titles do in Game Pass. But if they have a deal with PlayStation for Final Fantasy 16, which it appears they do, and they might, like Final Fantasy 7 Remake.
I was going to say.
If that joint comes to Xbox, that joint's got to be Game Pass. I wouldn't even imagine that it's not. But it could be. Because they want to make some money. There's no microtransactions. Like, there's no microtransactions in Outriders.
No. I think it'll come to Game Pass free because they just gave it away on the PlayStation last month.
Yep.
PlayStation Plus, man. Like, I have it now.
Even if it's not the up-res version.
Yeah.
Right. But you have to get, like, you have to buy the new content for it that they just dropped. The Yuffie content or whatever's coming, right? So, but it doesn't mean that like there couldn't be something like that comes. Like, again, one of the things that I said I think would happen with Game Pass is we would start to see versions of games come that had exclusive content in them. You know what I mean? It's likely, right, that we'll start to see, yes, this is going to be on PlayStation, but it's also in Game Pass, but the Game Pass version has this, right? Or if you're getting it in Game Pass, again, because Game Pass already has like other deals that you get where they're giving you packs and they're giving you, you know, things like that. Like, could we see a drop for Outriders that's just like a Game Pass joint where you get an outfit or a gun or, you know, whatever? Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Because Destiny has stuff in Prime Gaming
Mm-hmm.
that you can get for free and use in the game. They just added a new, and they're like legendary weapons or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it's not like, you know what I'm saying? Like you could, if you go in there right now, there's deals for Destiny 2 that are in Prime Gaming that you can just get and just be like, yeah, I want to use it on my Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So is it outside of the realm of possibility for Game Pass to have something similar to that? Not at all.
Not at all.
Could there be some exclusive content that you get, even if it's just like an outfit, right? It's just something cosmetic or, you know, whatever it is. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So you have to think about what that means. Like we've seen stuff where like there were other games that came out that had like, it was an Xbox exclusive or whatever, but it had like the N7 armor in it. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever, stuff like that, right? Dragon Age, you know, stuff like that or whatever. Like you could see things like that, right? Where there's a Gears of War armor or something for something.
Master Chief armor, something straight like
yeah,
that. Like that
you know what I
would
mean?
be.
Like you can see that kind of stuff, man. I
You
just
get the Spartan sword, you know.
at this point, like honestly, anybody who's naysaying Game Pass, man, you're just a hater.
You're hating. You're tripping.
I understand too, but
you can't hate on it. I'm sorry.
It's gotten undeniable. So here's what. How does Sony combat this?
I don't know.
I'm sure they've been trying to figure out how they can. I mean, with PlayStation Now and stuff, you semi can get certain. Or what's PlayStation Now that you can download and do certain things, but it's just. As much as we know, there's a heavy amount of people that use that and pay monthly to have the subscription for it. It still doesn't necessarily have all those extra powerhouse titles in there. I mean, or I could say indie studios. Like I know there's some in there that are indie titles that they have in there, but Game Pass is just like it's the gift that keeps on giving. Like I said this before, if you were to buy a console for somebody's birthday, you could give them a 1S. And you could buy them, even if you bought a ridiculous amount of Game Pass subscription cards that amounted up to a whole entire year. The cost of that already equals like 2 games. Versus in Game Pass, you have hundreds. And it still is growing every single day. Like tomorrow, I guarantee you, we probably going to wake up in here, even if it's just, you know, an indie title or something, there's going to be something extra being added to Game Pass. Every day we go on there, that's where we think like it's like, oh wait, that's in Game Pass. Like this is becoming a consistent thing now, where we're just seeing additional titles just being thrown into Game Pass, and not just titles that you're like, oh, that's just some crappy old something they just thrown in. No, these are AAA games. These are first party studios, third party studios. These are titles that people want to have in their hands to play.
I agree.
I've got a habit of checking Game Pass like every other day now.
Dog, I boot the app up every day to look in it. I go on the app every day.
You also get points for opening it up on your phone.
Exactly. They have me in there multiple ways. I make sure the app gets opened up every single day. I'm in the rewards and the app store every single day. I want them points. That just got me $10 off of Attack on Titan that I just downloaded.
Right. I mean, there are ways that you can basically get Game Pass free constantly if you just use Bing and play games. You know what I'm saying?
Use Google. Use Bing, and you earn points.
Right. Just for getting achievement points. Like they're giving you they're giving you, you know what I mean, reward points, and you can use those points to buy Game Pass. Like it's just there's
recycle. That's the best
PlayStation Plus is doing some like PlayStation Plus has been giving away some crazy joints like the last couple months. Like what they've been doing is pretty dope. But it's not.
They need to copy Game Pass.
Now it doesn't cost you anything extra. Like if you already have it. You know what I mean? And that's cool. And if you have a PlayStation 5 and you have, you know, PlayStation Plus, then you do get that suite of games in the PlayStation Plus collection that you can play. The thing about that is those Sony exclusive titles for the people who are, I guess there are a lot of people that play, but most of them probably had those games, right? Like, I mean, those games are crazy, you know, Last of Us and Uncharted collection and stuff like that. Like a lot of people, you're a PlayStation fan, you have that stuff, but that doesn't necessarily mean there are a lot of people who have PlayStation Plus and don't play those games. They might only play Madden, might only play MLB, might only play a boxing joint.
True.
You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. Like if there was, and 2K. Right now, like MLB The Show is the first major sports title to have crossplay.
Mm-hmm.
The first joint.
Solid. Okay.
Other joints are gonna have to follow suit.
Yep.
Yeah. That's gonna be the theme going forward. Crossplay. Everybody's gonna have to start adding that to the games.
And when you add that again, what box you have becomes less important when there's crossplay. And if you have to make a decision between whether you get an Xbox or you get a PlayStation, and you have Game Pass to weigh,
Game Pass
you
gonna
can
win.
still play with the people who maybe you have friends who were able to get a PlayStation 5 and you couldn't secure one.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. But you still want to be able to play with them. You know what I mean? Like, it's there. If you want to do it, it's there.
Smart option.
Yeah, man. I feel like, I mean, I think we're going to see some big things from Sony in the next couple of months. I don't know what yet. I feel like they might be playing a little close to the chest, but it feels a little like when you're talking about, when you're doing a presentation or whatever, and you're talking about like PSVR 2, talking to a very small number of people who might consider going up to a PlayStation VR 2, but they've got to get a PlayStation 5 first.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I don't feel like that is a solid differentiator for why people should be, you know what I mean, should play on your console versus somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And you're gonna have to lean way more heavily on your exclusives, which is okay, because exclusives are what got Sony back to where they were. Like PlayStation 3 era exclusives is what they're living on now, right? Like the exclusive IP that they really put in, like Uncharted and so forth, they came during the PlayStation 3 era, existed through the PlayStation 4 era, and they're intending to use those to carry them forward, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are only a couple of IPs that were created in the last generation that, you know what I mean, are carrying them forward. And like technically Uncharted is over. At least that trilogy is over.
Yeah.
Right? So will there be another Uncharted game? Sure. Will people care the same? Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because it's not likely to be Nathan Drake.
Right.
So does that matter? God of War was an older joint that they redid this time, and it's carrying them forward.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But I do feel like they need to lock down some services, right? To pull people in and keep them there, and to compete with what's happening on the other side, because it just feels so backwards. When you're like backwards compatibility, nobody cares, nobody wants that, and it's like then Microsoft turns around, they're like, we're gonna take these like 20 backwards compat games, and we're gonna throw those in Game Pass too, so you can play them joints in the cloud. You know what I mean? And it's like, you can say whatever you want about whether or not people actually play them, or whether they're important, or whether they mean anything, but they do mean something in the ecosystem. They do mean something to you when you've already paid for them and you get to keep using them. And it must mean something if you're spending the money you have to spend to take games like that and make them playable on the cloud.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why would you go back and pull a game from the OG Xbox and make it playable on cloud if you're not seeing numbers that tell you this is worth the investment to do it? You don't make
they're uprising those old games, like up in the frame rates and making them 60 FPS now. Yeah.
Taking games that be like 60 frames a second and stuff like that. And it's like, so it's not just that you can play these old games. It's that you can play them better than you ever played them. You can play them running like you thought they were supposed to be playing, like you thought they
way back when
you were playing them back in the day or whatever. They still feel good. You don't have to pay for them again. But if you didn't have it or you want it, you actually can also still buy it. Meanwhile, Sony is like, nah, we shutting that store down. You want PlayStation 3 stuff? Don't do that.
Nah, you ain't getting that. You better go in there and get it right now, because it's gonna be gone.
Technically, have you ever gone into I know you've downloaded stuff in games with gold.
Mm-hmm.
So you know how when you go to games with gold, when it's an original Xbox game, it takes you to a different store,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like it's not
It's not inside. It opens up
Microsoft
like a
store.
smaller one. Yeah.
It pulls up like a totally different because it's not the same store. But because the backwards compatibility works, you can go and you can buy it in that old store. They can keep that old store running, still allow you to go in and buy that stuff, and you can still play it on your current consoles. But instead of Sony finding a way to do that,
no, shut it down. Shut it down.
It took them forever to get people to let people change their names, their PlayStation IDs.
correct. But they're not a
So-
software company. They're a hardware company.
So who knows how they got it all wired in the back? Like it just could be
Right.
completely.
No, that's a disgusting, probably wired system back there.
It's a fire hazard back there that they're trying to.
The internet says that software is where it's going. Software and software engineering and cloud and
Yeah,
streaming, and that's where it's going.
yeah,
And you can try to force people to stay in something that you want them to believe is the better way to do it. And there are people who believe that having discs, having physical media, having like is the best way to do it. But you're also selling a PlayStation 5 that has no disc drive.
right.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously that says something.
So how can you, like, which Sony are you supposed to believe? I'm not trying, I'm just trying to say that, like, at some point, one of Microsoft's biggest issues going into last generation was the messaging. What they were saying, what the console is, how it's going to work, DRM. You know what I'm saying? Sony came up, smacked him in the face, like, this is how you trade games on PlayStation. Wham. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever, right? Okay. So Microsoft was a little too quick. They were a little ahead of the curve. But every single thing that Microsoft was saying the Xbox One was going to be, all the things that they said were going to be built into that system are all real things now.
Mm-hmm.
Games that you can't play at all. Outriders, even if you want to play it by yourself, you can't play it if the servers are down. Like, you can't play it if you're not online. Am I wrong?
Nope,
Facts.
you were right.
Facts.
Okay. There are single player games that you can't play if you're not online.
Yep.
It's just that's what it is. There are games that only live online. If the Destiny servers are down, if Destiny is doing maintenance,
Nope.
Can't play.
Division,
Nope.
I tried to jump in ESO earlier real quick. Maintenance, servers down.
Nope.
there have been games that have been living online on the PC
For
for
ages.
decades.
Yes.
World of Warcraft.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it just. All right. So the console space is doing it, right? Like, Final Fantasy 14, if I'm not mistaken, is getting ready to come to PlayStation.
Yeah.
Y'all see that?
Yeah.
It's always online. It's how it works. Which console, right? We talked about this, right? If you bought a physical copy of a game for the PlayStation 4, even though technically you can use it on the PlayStation 5, you can't do it if you got the digital. But I bought the digital PlayStation 5.
You
Yeah,
miscalculated.
you have to buy the game again.
You miscalculated.
You can see the.
But I have it.
You
Yes,
can
you
see the
Play it on the old console you bought it for.
It's like they're fighting within themselves. Like, no, we want to keep it this way. But
Well, you know what? Let's go ahead and let you do
digital
this.
system just to be on
Bro.
the safe side.
You have any idea how many people I have heard complain about, like, them trying to upgrade their game? Like, they bought a game on the PlayStation 4, like they got the PlayStation 4 version and it has the free upgrade to like the PlayStation 5 version. But when you go to try to download the game, it doesn't necessarily tell you whether you're getting the PlayStation 5 game version of the game or the 4. And people have spent hours or whatever downloading it, and it turns out it's a PlayStation 4 version of the game and it won't play on their joint. Then they got to go back in and do the other one. Or people who have the PlayStation 4 version of the joint, to make space on their console, because again, Sony doesn't have a way right now for the increase. So to make space on their console, they go in and they delete the PlayStation 4 version of the joint, download the PlayStation 5 version of the joint and then realize that they can't transfer their data without the PlayStation 4 version of the joint being there, or they have to do that before they erase the other version of the joint, and they got to go back, re-download that joint so they can access it to upload their joint. But when Microsoft was talking about smart delivery, that joint's dumb. Like, it doesn't do anything. It's doing the same thing Sony's doing. It just means that if you get it,
it's smart.
No, it's smart.
That's the key word.
You're playing on the Series X now. Let us give you this upgrade that you need right quick.
Here's the thing. It's almost like Microsoft couldn't say, yeah, but if you buy the joint on PlayStation, you're going to have to jump through all these hoops and do all this stuff or whatever to make the joint work, because they didn't necessarily have that use case. But the work that they did on the back end ahead of time to make it easier for the consumer to you just get the joint and it works. And when they say this game has smart delivery, it automatically delivers a version of the game for the version of the joint you playing on the console or whatever.
XS logo right on your thumbnail on the game.
This game needs an upgrade. Let us get you this right upgrade for you.
It's quite obvious. You know what version you're grabbing.
It's just it's quality of life, bro. I don't care what you do, where you work, how you shop. Quality of life is always the biggest and best and most important thing. And it's like, if you don't know, you don't know. But once you do it, it makes it super hard to go back. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't know any better, you're just like, yeah, nah, this is just how it is. Which is what I feel like they're relying on. It's like, I mean, that's what it is. Like, this is how console generations work. You get rid of the old one. The old discs don't work anymore. You got to buy a new system. You buy a new disc, and nobody cares anymore. But we're in a digital age now. It's not like that anymore.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's changed. And so the quality of life things that are in place, that should be in place, that need to be in place, it almost makes you feel like people at Xbox are gamers and actually thought out, well, when you get ready to get this joint, how would you feel if? Remember when we did Xbox One, and like, if you wanted the newer version of the game, like, you had to pay an extra $10, like, we're not forcing people to do that. We don't want to do that. You know what I'm saying? Let's just give it to them. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever, right? There are quality of life things that they're forcing, that they're putting in place, that are making it easier and better to be in their ecosystem. And then they're giving you more and more ways to get into their ecosystem more easily. We've talked about 100 times. Same when you and I did the business expo over the weekend, we talked to people about it being important for us to be where everybody is, not to try to force people to come to us, but to put our content everywhere where people are, because not everybody's on the same thing. Not everybody, you know what I mean? So sure, there are people who just ain't gonna buy a console no matter what you say, even if a game looks interesting to them. Man, I see all these people playing this Animal Crossing or whatever. I gotta do what? A Switch is how much? Why would I pay that kind of money to play one game? You know what I'm saying? Like, it just,
I got the
will make sense to a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
All right, so people who play on PC, not buying a console, that's stupid. I'm playing on a PC. I got the best. All right, well, let's put Game Pass on PC.
Boom.
Let's start taking our exclusive console games and let's put them on. You know what I'm saying? What are the words that Phil Spencer said? Where Game Pass lives. That's where you'll be able to get these games, right? Okay. So that's console, that's PC. That's cloud. That's iOS is Android. And it's probably TVs.
Yep.
It's probably going to be Roku's. It's probably going to be, you know what I'm saying? It's just,
steps. Yep.
It's let's make it easy for people to know the name Xbox, know that means games and gaming, know that it means quality, know that it means cloud, and all you need is a controller. Let's start mass manufacturing controllers, because we want to get more controllers out there. Let's put controllers out in titles and with TVs and with people, and that's when you buy a controller. Let's give people a month of Game Pass just for buying a controller. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are things that are beginning, like a lot of TVs are starting to have Bluetooth.
Yep.
You don't have to have Bluetooth. You can have a thing, that dongle that plugs in. All right, you buy the little dongle. They've talked about it. Let's take the dongle. Let's put that joint in the back of the TV. Play where you want. Why take your entire console with you when you go wherever? Take this HDMI, Bluetooth joint, plug it into the TV at the hotel.
And you good.
Good to go.
let's make it as easy as possible for people to get it wherever they want. I just think that's, and I'm not sure what Sony's going to do to combat it.
They're gonna try it.
No, but we're all waiting to see what they're going to do because they got to do something. They can't, sit like this for much longer.
They got to do something because the issue is as they don't do something, they keep going further and further behind. And Microsoft and Xbox, they keep jumping forward and doing these newer and innovative things with their technologies and things they're trying to put forward. Just like we've talked about, they're buying these other companies, not necessarily for games or certain things like that, but with the technology the companies have, it's like they look at bettering, like, what can we do with this one small piece of technology that this company has executed on to the grandest? Where can we incorporate that in our grand scheme of things and make that piece that much better? And that's where Sony is getting left in the dust, because it's where they're just trying to keep up with, let's say they're trying to keep up with games right now. Microsoft, at this point, screw games. Well, screw games. We'll buy the publishers and things that do it, so we can go focus over here on making the cloud service itself the greatest thing that you can play on. And everybody else is making these games for us to go ahead and put on there for you.
I mean, it would seem that it's not just that they're looking at making it easy for the consumer, but they're looking at making it easy for the developer. Right? Like, we'll buy a developer, let them do what they do.
Here's some extra money.
Microsoft money now. Let's let them do what they normally do. Let's get what we can. It's going to be Game Pass anyway. We're just going to pull it in. We're going to have tons of players, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. That monthly subscription is turning into something for people, and people are seeing something from it. Like, there's just no two ways about it, right? And we don't know exactly how they divvy that up or how exactly those deals are done.
They working.
So, like, how much money they get or whatever, but it's clearly working.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean, there will be people. Please don't misunderstand that the fact that MLB The Show is on Game Pass has given MLB The Show more press in the last 72 hours than they would ever get, regardless of how good that joint reviews, because it's just a baseball game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, to a lot of people, right? But the fact that it's in Game Pass is giving it ridiculous press, which means either that will drive sales for people, or people will be like, man, people are so mad that this joint is on Xbox, and look at how good this joint reviews. I only got a PlayStation. I'm gonna buy this joint. Because we see it. We have seen developers say, when my game comes out on Game Pass, we actually see the numbers spike on other platforms, because people are talking about it. So, yo, I just played this such and such on Game Pass. Man, that game's tight. Whatever. I enjoyed this, that, and the third. And it puts the game back in the conversation in a way where companies are actually seeing the numbers for their game spike on other platforms that aren't Xbox.
Winner.
The more people you get out there talking about it, it's just reaching more people. It just makes sense.
It's a little bit nuts. Listen, we got to wrap this up. And we're going to do just that. Jimmy, get out of the comments. Before we go, need y'all to know that this Saturday there are a couple of things happening. One, actually, okay, this weekend there are a couple of things happening. Jokes, WrestleMania this weekend.
WrestleMania.
The whole weekend.
The whole weekend.
2 days. Please tell us what's happening.
Honestly, this is WrestleMania week, but the part that we're going to be contributing to Saturday and Sunday, WrestleMania day 1 and day 2. So we're going to be doing a little prediction show both days. So Saturday and Sunday, 1 p.m. It's going to be me, Marcus, our good friend BP. We're going to be breaking down the matches and giving our predictions. We're going to see which one of us potentially is going to come as close to possibly calling that perfect show, if we can do that. But you guys can tune in.
Is this a competition?
No, I haven't thought of a prize. Maybe we should make a competition out of this.
I was just asking, like,
I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe we could make a competition out of this. I don't know. Peacock for a month. I don't know. I give you Peacock for a month because it's free.
That sounded like something. I don't like the way they always sounded. I don't like
See,
I'll give you some Peacock for a month.
See, it only went that way because you had to do that.
What? You said it.
You did say it.
And you twisted it.
Hey,
Hey,
you
listen,
won't offer
you
up
made it
Peacock
worse.
for a month. I'm just saying.
Hey, jokes. Let me just make it very clear. I never twisted your peacock. We very clear. That's not happening. You not
Talk, you gotta know about this giveaway.
You take that back, sir. Like you
WrestleMania prediction shows Saturday, Sunday, 1 p.m. Tune into it.
Why you say it like a wrestler? Tune into it,
brother. Saturday, Sunday. It's not a monster truck show, jokes. Okay. Also Saturday night, Sin and I will be live. Safe Apocalypse 2. We're doing Hot Seat. If you're unfamiliar with Hot Seat, we'll post something for you so you can see what a Hot Seat looks like. But there's a little bit of a friendly competition happening. We'll be at the Power Plant live in Baltimore. The actual show runs from 6 to 11. We'll be on sometime after 8. But we will be there. It is always a good time. It's good to kind of get out. It's been rough on a lot of people getting out, having a good time. But Safe Apocalypse, which was Nerd Apocalypse, again, there are still a lot of things in place to make sure that people are separated and wearing masks and all that kind of stuff. So if you haven't already purchased tickets, please take a look at that. You can just look for Safe Apocalypse on Facebook. It's the easiest way to do it. Check it out. Again, we'll be there. We will have a good time because we always do. Absolutely. Transcendent Events. If you are not following Transcendent Events Maryland, please do that. Check them out on Facebook as well. That is a big deal. I want to thank everybody who has already joined our anime chat as well as our wrestling chat and our MCU chat. Okay. But the party's not over. We are looking to grow our anime chat as well as our wrestling chat. MCU chat, we'll love to have that grow too. It's doing pretty well though. Those are private chats. And the reason why they're private is because we're trying to keep the rigmarole out. Keep it as safe and friendly and happy and so forth as we possibly can. Yes. But we do allow for friends of those who have been allowed in to invite other friends in without them having to go through a process of being approved or whatever. If you are in one of those chats, if you are interested in one of those chats or both of those chats, please join. We will let you in. If you have friends that are interested in wrestling or in anime, if you're new to it, if you're not super familiar with wrestling or anime, we are trying to make these friendly spaces where, like, a lot of times you jump into a place like that and you ask questions and people treat you like you're dumb. You don't belong here. You're not. That's not how we get down. That's not how we get down. Yeah. Okay. We want to be and are trying to be inclusive and open and allowing people to come in new. And we have learned over time that a lot of times what we do is we take the things that we love and we box people out from being allowed in because we're afraid it'll get watered down or something like that. Like what happens to a lot of anime when it comes on US TV. However, facts. However, if you don't allow other people in, it can't grow. And that makes something stagnant. And we recognize that. We want you all to be able to jump in and have a good time with us. And we're looking at you kind of setting up some places where it'll be easier to kind of learn some things about anime and learn things about wrestling. If you're unfamiliar or you don't want to know, we want you to feel comfortable coming in. So if you haven't joined in, if you're interested in learning about those things, by all means, please jump in those chats. If you have other friends who are interested or who are already in it, please invite them to come in too. We want to grow that community. So as per normal, we want to thank everybody who's in the chat for being in the chat. If you are in the chat and you are on a platform and you see other people who are on a platform that you're not on, please follow us on those platforms. You can do that by going to our link tree, which Jokes will put up for you. And if you see other people who are there, a lot of our folks in the chat are creators of their own. So please go and follow each other. Again, we're building a community. We want everybody to be friends with everybody and treat everybody good. We want everybody to support everybody. We believe that there's enough space for all of us to be creative and to help one another, and so forth. So thank you for doing that. Thank you for being here. Sin, you have a job to do.
Yep. So let's shout out our top tier patrons before we get out of here. Starting with Anthony Cunningham, Marcus Houston, Susan Dorsch, and Tyrone Carson. Thank you very much. We truly, truly appreciate it.
Absolutely. It's very, very true. Now, Tyrone Carson, special shout out. Ty, I want you to know, Jokes did a wonderful job on making sure the MCU chat was on time this past week. We have every intention of making sure that happens this coming week. We will be watching Falcon and Winter Soldier. If you are not already in MCU chat, trust me, that's the place to be. But if you want the full-on 45-minute long discussion about what we think about each episode as it happens, Patreon is where you need to be.
Place to be.
All that pop up for just $1 a month. You can join us on Patreon. That helps us. It helps us grow. We do have some other content that is there that doesn't pop up anywhere else. But MCU chat, man, and that spoiler boys.
Spoiler boys!
Hey, we be spoiling stuff, but trust me, you want to watch it if you've seen it already. If you haven't seen it and you watch Spoiler Boys first, I'd love to hear what your reactions are to how you feel about Spoiler Boys if you watch Spoiler Boys first and then watch an episode. But listen, we got a trailer for Loki earlier this week. That joint looking like fire. We making plans, y'all. Spoiler Boys ain't going nowhere.
Nope.
Nowhere. Okay. Having said that, I think that covers everything that we got going on this week, everything that's happening this weekend. We will see y'all next weekend. We greatly appreciate y'all being here with us. We love you. We're out. Kudos and lose.